Jannik Sinner out of Wimbledon. Daniil Medvedev spoils the party, and he will now face Carlos Alcaraz for a second year running in the semi-finals. And on the women's side, Jasmine Paolini. She's doing it again. Can she make the final? We're going to find out. This is our Day 9 Roundup.
Good evening, Ben. Good evening, everyone at home or morning, wherever you're watching from. It is our Day 9 roundup of Wimbledon. And I must admit, I am a little bit surprised. Jannik Sinner lost to Daniil Medvedev. I saw your post-match reaction earlier. And I would agree with your sentiment that I was surprised. Medvedev, we know, has the ability to beat most players on his day. He's someone who's only won one Grand Slam, which is astonishing, really, for the ability he has. But the questions have been out on him on the clay courts and certainly the grass as well. He's got a good shot now. He's just beaten Jannik Sinner, the world number one. We know Sinner wasn't 100% fit. He had a few problems throughout. It didn't seem fully well. He said, I don't know if you've got the quote there, but he was mentioning in his post-match interview that there was a bit of a fever of some kind. Do you have it?
Let me find that one. Yep, here we go.
He said, this morning, I already didn't feel great. I had some problems, and then with the fatigue, it was tough. Nothing to take away from Daniil. I think he played very smart, good tennis. That's it. I went off the court. I actually didn't want to go off. The physio told me it was better to take some time because he watched me and I didn't seem in shape to play. I was struggling physically. And I think it's fair to say exactly what I feel in this situation. I think it was totally unnecessary for him to have to go off the court because he's not feeling well. I don't understand why that happened. I'd say that about any player, so it's only fair I say it about Jannik Sinner as well. I think maybe there was a little bit of gamesmanship, a little bit of delaying tactics from Jannik Sinner. Everyone always says he is a nice guy, and I'm sure he is. He comes across so well in the media and the way he acts, and very calm and composed. But for me, I think he was a little bit rattled, the fact that Medvedev was playing so well. I don't doubt he had a bit of fatigue, but it didn't seem that bad because in the fourth set, he just turned it on and was incredible. And then the fifth set, he was there or thereabouts. I think he just come up against a really good level from Daniil Medvedev. Sinner made a few unforced errors I wouldn't expect, and maybe it was just one of them days. So for him to have to make such a big drama, was it after the second set, or it was definitely early on?
It was the start of the third set. He just got broken, and then for me, the timing of it.
The timing wasn't right. And if we was to say about any player, we would say it's gamesmanship. But it seemed not the best look for Jannik Sinner today. Despite that, I thought he played a really good game in large spells. I think he almost had enough to beat Daniil Medvedev. There wasn't much separating them. And I just want to congratulate Daniil Medvedev. The thing he did today, which was a lot better to his 2023 Wimbledon, is he stepped onto the court a lot more to return both first serve and second serve. We know Daniil Medvedev always stands so far back. I think he's overdone it, and it's not helped him, especially at Wimbledon. I feel he plays sometimes better, maybe more on the front foot, and it just makes it eliminates the opportunity for so many drop shots, and he's going to be able to get to the net more. I think his success when he got to the net today was at one point he won every point at the net. I don't know if it ended like that, but I remember during up to the third set, that was definitely the case. And he wins a marathon. It is the record now for, there we go, net points won, right on cue. 27 out of 41. At one point, it was 100%. I think it might have been the first 10 or so. Sinner, 20 out of 28. So Sinner doing very well, good at the net. Way more net points for Medvedev than Sinner. Was not on my bingo card for the match, although I still wish drop shots weren't counted as net points. So that stat was cleaner. And if you go back to the last one, you can see it's another 5-set match, and that is the new record for Grand Slams. It has eclipsed the Australian Open. I think 36 5-set matches. That number sort of...
Wow, really?
I kind of stay in my mind. The Australian Open was 35. So now we've gone one more with obviously a few more matches yet to go. So it's been a real 5-set magical tournament, and Medvedev wins the latest one.
Yeah, I mean, this tournament has been insane, and I've noticed some people saying some quite interesting things in comment section, stuff like that. That this means that the tour is getting closer. That's the real positive for tennis fans out there. That the domination from the big players, they are there to a point, but they're not sort of like getting away, like they're not running away with matches against, say, like people who are very, like, say, 5-10 now. We're getting some closer matches. We're seeing the sets being taken off. They're not the straight sets thing. I mean, the Medvedev from last year would have probably lost this match, I think, in straight sets because he wasn't tactically astute on the grass court. I think he was still making the same mistakes like he did against Sinner at the Australian Open as well. He was playing very aggressive. He was playing brilliant tennis for the first 2 sets and then fell back into his old ways, started going as far back as possible to return and then just leaving the whole court open. Didn't do that today, and that's what Nick Kyrgios says here. The Slim Reaper, which I think is a brilliant nickname for Daniil Medvedev. Impressive. The best match on grass that he's seen him play. And the return position that he was choosing to come forward a lot more times and making it much more dangerous for Jannik Sinner, which I thought was brilliant adjustment from Daniil Medvedev. Considering he's lost 5 in a row to Jannik Sinner, think of the mental fortitude it takes for a player to step on a court with the knowledge, even when you lost that 4th set as well, and quite convincingly, to go into the 5th and still take the match to him. I was so impressed by Daniil Medvedev today and how he's still growing as a player on grass. We've seen him growing on clay as well. He's far from the finished product. We could see Daniil Medvedev in a couple of years' time, like, I don't know, he could be a finalist this year. We could see him as a Wimbledon champion, I think, before his career's up.
I don't see it like you do, that he's going to just keep getting better and better. I think we've already seen him at his best. I think his best still is one of the best in the world. I wouldn't say his level for the last 3, 4, 5 years has been nothing short of 1, 2, or 3 in the world. That's enough to win Grand Slams. He's already done 1. I think he's unlucky to not to have won more. He's unfortunate in the fact that you've got the likes of a Sinner and Alcaraz coming up who seem to play very well against him. And his draw, if you just look at this Wimbledon, the big 3 sums it up nicely. Yeah. I don't know if you've got that tweet. He's just beaten the world number 1, who's going to stay world number 1, Jannik Sinner, by the way, irrelevant to what happens at Wimbledon. He's then going to be rewarded in the next round to play the most recent Grand Slam to earn a champion, to earn a spot, and also the reigning champion of Wimbledon. And then if he beats Alcaraz, he'll then have to play the greatest player of all time to win the title in Novak Djokovic. So that is how tough it is for Daniil Medvedev. If he wants to win Wimbledon, he'd have to beat Sinner, Alcaraz, and Djokovic. And I think that, unfortunately, is going to be his downfall, because it's okay to catch one of them, maybe 2. I don't think he'll get all 3.
It's a very good point. I mean, if you do win it after beating all of them, then it's one of the best runs to ever win a Wimbledon title. I have to, like, in other years, I can't think of a tougher.
Not in recent years, I agree, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so difficult what he's going to have to try and achieve. The one thing that I was really impressed with Daniil, though, and I think that this is the same thing, we've got to include the same conversation that we have when we talk about Sinner and Alcaraz. I think we need to talk about Medvedev and Sinner, and maybe Medvedev and Alcaraz as well, because we've seen when Alcaraz and Sinner play each other, they make an adjustment the next time they play each other, and you might see a different result the next time, and then you might see a different result the next time, because they always are adjusting to how that other player plays.
And it depends on the day as well, on the surface.
It definitely depends on that as well.
I feel like with Sinner and Alcaraz, maybe we overanalyze it. I genuinely believe there's 2 top players, and whoever plays better on the day wins. I don't think there's much more to it.
Well, maybe there's more in it for Daniil Medvedev then, with the changing of the tactics.
I think he needs to change his tactics up more to be able to compete with them, and that's what he did perfectly today against Sinner.
Well, look what he did when he lost straight sets at Wimbledon last year to Alcaraz. Bear in mind, Grand Slams, this is where people are going to be picking up on how much are you a competitor? How much are you in the match? You've got at least three sets to look competitive against your opponent. He got blitzed by Alcaraz at Wimbledon last year in straight sets and then beat him at the US Open. So you saw he lost to Sinner in Australia in dramatic fashion. Now he's beaten him at Wimbledon. So he is making improvements in Grand Slams because he needs the revenge. This keeps him at the top of the pile with them, showing it's not just a 3-horse race. I'm in this with you in different surfaces as well. I'm really happy that Daniil has made the adjustments, and Sinner was the hot favourite for the tournament. He might have been a bit sick. I'm not buying into it. I feel that Medvedev had a great day today.
Yeah, I don't know I don't want to talk too much about the sickness either. I feel definitely leaving the court was unnecessary, but that's just my view. Let's speak about who he's going to be playing next. And you say he was a hot favourite. I'm not sure if he was a hot favourite because it was pretty neck and neck between these two. And Alcaraz managed to beat Tommy Paul, the informed grass court player who just won Queens. Yep. And this was a really good performance. Lost the first set. It was happening at the same time as the Sinner match. And there was, I think you messaged saying, could we see both Sinner and Alcaraz go out? That would be a big turn up for the books. It didn't happen. And I must admit, them remaining 3 sets was so good. Alcaraz beat a really informed Tommy Paul, who was playing well. And that final set, I think it was not even just the final. Was it the third and the fourth one were just amazing. I liked both of them. The way he played was scarily good at times. Tommy Paul had no answers at all. He was chuckling to himself. I think he just pleased that he got that far and just kind of accepting the fact that he's come up against one of the best players in the world. And I truly believe when Alcaraz plays like that, like he did for the last few sets, no one's going to get close to him. Not even a Djokovic.
He is a scary prospect, Carlos Alcaraz. When I sometimes forget how good he is, but when he shows us stuff like he did today, I mean, this is against somebody, like you said, who is in amazing form. Probably would have beaten majority of other people. Yeah. There's only a few people that could have probably beaten Tommy Paul today. I even said I thought that this match, I watched the Sinner and Medvedev match, and it was such a stark contrast between the two. And I think the reason of the contrast in the matches, like I knew there was going to be a tie break in the Sinner Medvedev. We know they're going to hold serve. We know it's going to be a little bit of pitter-patter. Yeah, long rallies. Who's going to finally break? When Alcaraz came on court, it was literally, I was so much more engaged in the match within minutes than I was in the Medvedev-Sinner one. Because I don't know what it is. What he brings to a court is energy. Like, the crowd feel like what Carlos Alcaraz is bringing onto a tennis court. Even if he's winning or if he's losing, it's dramatic. That's the thing that he brings to a tennis court. And in the first set, I think it was it at 3-2, they had a game that went to, I think it was 9 juices, and it was about 15 minutes. So was it 17 in the end? I saw it kept popping up on the screen. 17 minutes. And even Medvedev said in his post-match press conference, he said they kept putting the score up on the screen, because like they do on the scoreboard, they change it sometimes to show what's going on the other court. And he said, I looked over and it said 4-all. 50 minutes, and he was like, what the hell are they doing on that court? Literally, it was an insane match. In that first set, Tommy Paul really dug in, but I think that first set, it was so grueling, I think it might have finished him off, to be honest. And the second set was quite close to a point, but then once Alcaraz edged it, I think it was done. And like you said, those last 2 sets, he looked on fire.
I think it's a statement victory. It's one to say, I'm as good as Jannik Sinner. Don't forget about me. I'm a favourite as well. And maybe it's why we looked at them as very close. And even after the first match, I think we changed our alliance instantly and was like, oh, Alcaraz looks slightly better. And it turned out to be true from that moment, really. From round 1, we saw the signs. And I'm not that surprised that Alcaraz won as convincing as he did, because I think he would have been. I don't know if he would have known that Sinner went out. I feel like he probably would have been. I think he would have known whether it was coming up on one of the boards or someone tipped him off. If anything, that will spur him on, I feel, even more to know that I'm not going to be going. I'm going to now rise to this occasion. He's always done that his whole career. I don't know if you want to bring up some stats for Carlos Alcaraz. There's a good one about him and Rafa. I think it's an Opta Race one.
Let me find. I've got an Opta Race one right here. Here we go.
And that is at 21 years. Carlos Alcaraz is only the second youngest player in the Open era to reach the men's singles semi-final at Roland Garros and Wimbledon in consecutive years, older only than Rafael Nadal. So he's just doing the same things as Rafael Nadal, as per usual. And how difficult is it to win on clay, win a Grand Slam on clay, then follow it up a month later and win on grass? We don't see that happen often.
One of the hardest things to do, apparently, according to all professional tennis players, is the transition between clay and grass. And that's why a lot of people look to Bjorn Borg and say he could be the greatest ever had he have continued playing.
Because different era he played in, though, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those things that you can't really compare eras, but someone who was able to do that, like, regularly, go from clay to grass and win both.
Well, what he has the ability to do this year is unlike anyone in history, because he potentially could go and win Wimbledon now and then could win the Olympics. So he could win the clay, grass, clay, and then go on to the US Open and win on the hard courts, which I think would be ridiculous if he did that combination. But let's stay grounded. Long way to go because Djokovic, he's not going anywhere. I've been very dismissive of him. I've played into it at times, I must admit. And Rune was just not really much of a test and played pretty poorly the other night. De Minaur, I'm not sure if he's going to have enough. But he's certainly going to get a match in the final. I think we can agree on that. Whoever it's going to be, Alcaraz or Daniil Medvedev, that is a tough match in the final for Djokovic. But let's move on to the women, because
for sure.
That is, for me, very exciting and something I was tempted to even to start on today's episode. The reason being is I feel like I've been pretty on the ball with my women's predictions on these daily prediction videos I've been doing.
Yep.
I called the Raducanu exit. I called the Vekic win. I called a win today. I called the Paolini Navarro one. They've not been too bad at all. We'll go through some of them at the end on the bracket. But let's start with Jasmine Paolini. And I don't know what you want to bring up first. But today she beat Navarro 6-2, 6-1. Gil Gross didn't think it was possible. You never thought it was possible.
No.
Maybe I didn't really believe it was going to be that possible. But
blind hope, maybe.
I don't know if it was just blind hope. I must admit, I did put a bet on before the thing saying I think she's going to win at 13-1 Wimbledon. So it wasn't like a complete women like that. And that's the only bet I did, by the way. It wasn't like I did loads of them. It was the only prediction I did. It wasn't that long ago, like maybe 2 nights ago for the women's.
Wow.
And the reason being is purely, I think she was lucky to get through Keys after the injury, but still, I think she has been phenomenal this year. And on a surface like the grass at Wimbledon, I don't think you have to always be the best player to win. And I'm not saying that in a dismissive way. I just think she's probably not got as much power as a Rybakina or a Sabalenka or some of these other players. Coco Gauff probably has not got as much power.
Consistent though, isn't she?
But her fire and consistency and her tactical tennis IQ, I think, is probably the best on tour. And that does go a long way. She just was too intelligent, I felt like, for Emma Navarro. Emma Navarro didn't play smart enough tennis. And Paolini's season so far, a 1,000 title on the hard court, a Grand Slam final on clay, a Grand Slam semi-final on grass, now a top 5 player as well. Before this tournament, had never won a single match at Wimbledon. She's just a well-rounded player who can play on any surface, because I don't think it's necessarily about just her tennis. It's her whole attitude, persona, and tennis IQ. I'm telling you, she is going to be a fantastic coach one day, Jasmine Paolini.
I think she's so good for the game as well. I love that her like exuberance on a tennis court. She has such a likability as well. Always smiling, like looks like the model professional. Really, I mean, she's 28 years old, and I know that people sort of come into their they come into like a sort of late blooming stage in their careers sometimes, and she's hit this amazing run of form since like the Italians have been at the forefront of the sport. I think she's here to stay, though. That's what I get the feeling. I don't get the feeling of somebody who's having some lucky results at the moment. I get the feeling of somebody who's found their footing and found like I don't know. It's just like a flow on a tennis court. She's good on the clay. She's good. She won on a hard court earlier in Dubai. She's now proving somehow, I didn't even expect, she's so good on the grass now.
And do you know what I keep saying? She's not powerful. Every time I watch her, I think she's more powerful than what I said the last. Like there was shots today where it's like, as much as you can say that about her, it does fly off the racket. I don't have the numbers and the miles per hour, but it seems pretty fast still. And
it's accurate.
Like you can push her around the court. She's fast, fantastic talent. I would love to see her go on and win Wimbledon. I really would.
I mean, I echo that.
Not easy beating Navarro. He's had a great season. Someone who bageled her, I think, in March time. And now Paolini will be playing Donna Vekic, the first time she's ever got to a Grand Slam semi-final. And I believe it's been quite a few attempts as well. So you're going to return to the top 20. And I don't know if you've got it there, but it's like 46 Grand Slam appearances or something.
43.
43.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
So only 4 players have made their first semi-final after more major appearances. So she's been playing for many years, not quite been able to do it at the back end of slams. And now the draw's opened up perfectly for her to do it. She's been a bit lucky having, I would say, Lulu Sun at that round, but still have to beat her. She did convincingly as well in that third. And I think it's going to be a great match against Paolini. I put her as an underdog, but she certainly can give her as good as she gets, I think.
Well, she's a very interesting character, Donna Vekic. I mean, she has a lot of fire in the belly. You can see on a tennis court, screaming loud. When she played Lulu Sun today,
she was going to retire not too long ago because she was just lost the love for it a bit after a Roland Garros one year. I saw in a few quotes, but yeah.
Well, how interesting is it that we've got one semi-final and it's 2 28-year-olds suddenly hitting a great run of form in their career? I mean, it goes to show, don't give up on your dream because it could eventually happen, especially if you're a tennis player. You might just have not had the right coach. You might not have had, maybe you've had injuries that have been stopping you getting to the top of your game. Or maybe you just hadn't learned all of the mistakes you had to learn to get to the point where you are now. She's a fantastic grass court player, Donna Vekic. Like, hits the ball so hard. Lulu Sun, I got to give some credit to her, though. Considering she was in a Grand Slam quarter-final and no one expected her to be there. Even she didn't expect to be there. Let's be honest. The way that she played in the first 2 sets, I thought was brilliant. I thought that the Vekic looked shocked on the tennis court. She even threw away I think it was an advantage in the first set, and then lost the set because she looked bamboozled by Lulu Sun. Lulu Sun had so many long juices on her serve that Vekic was unable to break her, and then she lost the set. And I thought, oh no, is she going to be mentally gone from this? No, she broke Lulu right at the end of the second set, and I think that was it. That was the catalyst for the final set. Lulu Sun was gone. That was it. The sun had gone in, so to speak, and we end.
Yeah, sorry, I don't want to burst your bubble on Lulu Sun though, because I know you've been quite hyped, but I think she's a flash in the pan. I don't see her amounting to be a top tennis player who wins events. I think this was her moment in the sun, and now she's going to head back into the shade. The reason being, it reminds me a little bit of a Zidane sec at Roland Garros a few years back. great run. I don't think she's got the ability and the stamina to be consistently doing it, but great tournament for her nonetheless.
I don't know. I think she'll be in and around. I think she'll be in the. Well, she's definitely going to be in the top 50. I think after this tournament, anyway. I think she can hang around in a few.
You won't
tournaments.
see her in a quarterfinal at a Grand Slam for many, many years, if not ever at all.
Yeah, maybe not. I hope that she's still.
That's my big prediction, anyway.
She's 23 years old, and I think that this is, well, hopefully not her last rodeo. I want to see her go deep with a name like that. It's a star-studded name, so we need to have Lulu Sun doing some big things in tennis.
I think it's Sun, by the way.
Yeah, it is Sun. Yeah, I know, but in Britain we don't get enough sun, so we have to just say what we can get. Yeah, it is more Sun. Well, soon it's going to be the semi-finals. They're coming up quick and fast. They're being not tomorrow, but the day after. We do have some other matches coming up tomorrow, and it seems that there's only one American left in. Unfortunately, the Americans took a tumble. We lost Navarro. Fritz is carrying the flag for the US. Can he get past Musetti? I know that everyone's sort of bigging up Musetti, and he's a massive underdog in this one. Is that the bet that you would take on, JG? Musetti?
No, I think Taylor Fritz does win that one. I was surprised how Gil was saying that he was giving Musetti so many chances of the backhand cross court. I don't buy into it. I really don't. I think Fritz is going to finish him off. If at the very best, I think Musetti will take a set. I just want to wind back quickly to Vekic again, because something popped into my mind, and that was my last year prediction. Last year, I predicted Donna Vekic, Madison Keys final at Wimbledon. Yes. I think I just went a year early with a lot of my predictions last year. You had the Djokovic not winning a slam and the Dow, and then this year I've done it's just everything. What I said last year is going to have to be happening this year. Not that they're going to make a final, but still, Keys come very close. That could have easily been a semi-final here at Wimbledon. Keys, Vekic, and Vekic. I don't know. I've always liked her on the grass, but frustrating. I was a year too soon.
Yeah, it is a bit weird, isn't it? Vekic sort of doing.
I'm looking out for more trends now. I'm going to start thinking about it.
Well, if Djokovic wins Wimbledon, that's all out the window anyway.
True.
And plus, Vekic isn't in the final yet either. Paolini is going to the final, apparently. Battle of the 28-year-olds. Let us know in the comment section who you think is going to be going to the final. These are the matches that are coming up tomorrow. It doesn't go away, the tennis. It just keeps coming thick and fast. Musetti Fritz is the first one. We've given our predictions. Go check out that video. I personally think.
Why don't we bring them up now? Let's go through some of the predictions on the
let's have a look.
See where we're going.
Let's have a look at how
we'll leave it there.
Badly I'm losing in the predictions first.
I just want to see your women's ones.
Well, my men's aren't much better at the moment. We both got a 0 on Sinner. We both went straight set Sinner, which I feel very ashamed of myself right now. And you got it exactly right. Alcaraz in 4. I went Alcaraz in 5, which only just the 1 point for me there. I think I was going a bit too crazy there, or maybe just didn't want to have the same as you. We've got Vekic to win in 3. Perfect. Me, Sun in 3. Sad. I have 3 sets. I mean, I feel on the women's you should get a point for the sets because it's... No chance. Paolini, 2-1. It was
Navarro in straights is poor.
I mean, Navarro and straight. I mean, she didn't even... I don't know what happened to her today. She wasn't even in the match.
It's Paolini effect. You don't rate her enough. I'm telling you. You and Gil don't realise how good Paolini is.
I thought Navarro beating Goff was a sign that she was ready to take out Paolini. But now I've realised it's just the Paolini effects, like you said. She got to the final Roland Garros. Now, looks like she's going to get to the final of Wimbledon. Maybe she'll win Wimbledon. I wouldn't want to see her get to the final and not win it, because I don't want to see her get to 2 slam finals and lose
still
both.
Pretty good. I don't think it'll damage her too much. I think she'll still just keep doing it.
Rabakina Paolini final would be immense, because
Paolini's favourite.
She's not favourite, but
based on that matchup,
if the odds come up, I reckon they'll probably.
She's beaten her the last 2 times.
What do you reckon the odds will be if that was the final?
It will be 2.75 Paolini.
Oh, not good enough. I want more. I was hoping for like a 3.75 or something. You don't think
Let's have a look at the fourth round scores. I think you beat me, didn't you, on the men's?
Yeah, okay, we'll go on to the men's. So the fourth round ones, on the men's one, I had Paul in straight sets against the Goot. Yeah, got that one right.
You can just see the end score. That's fine. Let's have a look at the end score.
17-10. Oh,
17-10. Gosh.
Quite good. Look at this one. Look, 3-3-3. Pretty good there.
Pretty good, yeah, gosh.
Yeah, I did well on those ones. And this is where I did... This is where it goes really downhill. Zero. How many wrong predictions? 6 out of 8 incorrect predictions. It must be a record for me. I mean, how have I got that so wrong? I beat you on the Ostapenko one, but that's about it, really, isn't it? It's a bit shocking, to be honest. I mean, that was the one I actually did the predictions video for on my own as well. People slating me, and rightly so. I have to go back to the drawing board and work out how women's tennis actually works, because I'm absolutely useless at predicting it right now. Right, anyway.
Let's wrap it up there. Thank you so much for joining, everyone. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, subscribe if you're new. This is our day nine roundup. We'll be back tomorrow for day 10, and we're closing in on the final. The rain is still pouring, but the roof is closed, and play will be going ahead because we're all on the centre court. And fascinated to see how these semi-finals play out. You've heard our predictions. Let us know yours in the comments section. And anything left to say?
If you are on Spotify or on Apple Podcasts, leave us a review. Helps the channel grow. But we'll see you tomorrow evening.
See you then.